Studio 125 Multimedia Complex, where our mission is to provide a safe, positive platform for the community to share their life journey. I am your host, Natasha Janelle, and we are here today with our guest, Lena Cebula. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, most definitely. We are so much gratitude for you for being here today and being willing to come onto our platform to share your journey to help others.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Same. So, where are you originally from?
Well, I'm Russian from Ukraine. I actually was born when it was still USSR. So it's very complicated. But I am Russian, but I was born in Ukraine.
Beautiful accent. I love it. So when your journey first started, it was in Russia, of course. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and how you grew up?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I would never have imagined that after 20 years of silence, this is what I would be doing, and I would be standing on stage in front of hundreds of people, and my story would be broadcasted all over social media because in the past I was afraid of judgment and rejection because I thought my story was of guilt, shame, and condemnation. But now I know it's God's story of salvation. So, like I said, I was born and raised in Ukraine, and my parents struggled in their marriage, and they became an alcoholics and lost well-paid jobs. And at our home, the government turned off the electricity and hot water for outstanding bills. And my home was infested with cockroaches, mice, black mold, and I was hungry all the time. I was literally starving. So honestly, we struggle in poverty, trying to survive, and my home always been full of strangers who brought booze and drugs, with parents who did nothing to protect me. So I became an easy target for those guys, and I was drugged and raped in the basement of my own apartment numerous times. When I thought things couldn't get any worse, 1 month before my 15th birthday, I woke up with this severe abdominal pain, scared and confused, only to realize that I was in labor. I didn't know I was pregnant, and I didn't know who her father was. So my baby girl died 3 months later from health complications. I buried her when I was 15 years old. I suffered with depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. I used alcohol and drugs to medicate my pain. I turned to heroin because it was better to be high than feeling worthless, helpless, abandoned, and broken. So broken. As the years went by, I saw people dying around me or who went to jail. So desperate and in despair, I thought I needed to change. But there's no hopes and dreams for people like me. And then through my mutual friend, I met this lady. Oh my goodness, she brought me to her house and offered me fancy coffee and sweets. I was so impressed. She told me that she would be able to find me a job. No specifics, just a job. Without much thought, I accepted, eager to escape. So her team went to work. Still on heavy drugs, I vaguely remember an airport and how I got through customs. I'll never know. One morning I woke up hearing the Muslim call to prayer. Allahu Akbar, run out. I was confused and terrified because I wasn't at home anymore. I was in a foreign country. So that nice lady sold me into human trafficking. So later on, I find out that I was in Cairo, Egypt, and I was forced to crawl under the barbed wire crossing the border into Israel. So in the Israel, I was sold into the brothel, and I find out it's actually very important where you end up in, because most of the girls who came with me died or went missing. And although you guys thinking like, oh my goodness, it's horrible situation, but honestly, for me, it was an upgrade because I was clean, I was fed, I made money, and no one could rape me or beat me to death. So the most interesting part that in the brothel, one of my bodyguard shared the good news of God's love with me. And when my grandpa had a heart attack, we went to Jerusalem to pray at the Wailing Wall, where God answered my prayer. And honestly, like it's planted the seed, and I wanted to leave. In most cases, you will never leave this kind of situation alive unless you have been rescued. But by the grace of God, almost 2 years later, they set me free. So I was allowed to go home. So I thought I gonna start a new life because I saved some money, and my trustworthy aunt stole and spent all my money. And one of other bodyguard who was like a brother to me um, cheated me out of all my possessions. So I end up at the ground zero again. So I didn't know what to do. So very fast, I end up right hand of the number one drug dealer in my city because I felt so betrayed. I had anxiety again, and I just need to medicate my pain. So a few years later, I realized that I'm gonna die because I had unlimited amount of drugs and influence and money. So this time, because it wasn't safe, like I could be like definitely like I was using the dose of 5 people by that time. So I thought I'm gonna die of overdose or like or being killed, like murdered for the drugs. So I didn't know what to do. So second time I actually sold myself willingly into human trafficking. But this time they brought me to Canada. So here, first time, like I was over 20 years old, I actually heard somebody said to me, in this country, you have rights. And I don't know how about you, but I have now um, 3 children who go into school and they know that they have rights, since their childhood. Nobody ever asked me if I have dreams because I thought I'm gonna be dead million times over. Nobody ever told me that I have rights. Nobody ever told me that my body is sacred and have to be protected, or any personal space or anything like that. So here, I started believing that the government will protect me if I decide to start a new life. So I escaped the human trafficking with the help of one of the person. And there's another thing: if you wanna change your life, you don't need an army of people. Sometimes we think like it have to be like police force. Of course, like there's different situations, but just have faith that one person that you can trust can make a difference, huge difference in your life. That's what happened to me. So yes, and finally I was free, but I was in a different country. I have to start learning English from level zero. I live in shelter because I didn't have money. And it helped me a lot as well because um, honestly, nobody really care for me or give me anything like without asking anything in return. So that was huge boost that I want to have a normal life and be better or do better. And After a while, I got my first job with my broken English. And then I went to school. And in a year, after being a year in Canada, I went to government credit school and I finished that, got my license. And actually, I wrote my exam. It was so funny. After, so it was 2 years I was in Canada. I wrote my exam was in English, 200 questions, 2 hours, and I passed it, passed from the first time. And I got my license and I became a hairstylist. So I was a hairstylist for 12 years. And then I owned a hair salon for 2 years. But in 2019, I heard God spoken to me saying, "This is not the job you should be doing." So I closed my business. I published my manuscript that I was working for last 3 years on. And now I'm sharing my story publicly. I'm selling my book to inspire, encourage, and to give hope. And I launched my podcast a year ago called Love and Beloved. A little bit more than a year now, but it's so exciting because now I share in other people's stories as well, and I see how much value um, they bring, by sharing the story. We know that we are not alone, and we are not broken. Everybody suffer, but there's hope. That's my main thing. But um, I missed the part when I was going to my hair school. I met a boy. Now he's my husband. We have three beautiful children, and yeah, and I do believe it took me like probably 20 years work on a different trauma that I got from my childhood. But honestly, doing this work right now, I'm thinking I'm so blessed and grateful, first of all, that God didn't allow me to die somewhere roadkill, and that this life that I have right now is just so miraculous. And I have peace in my body, mind, and soul. And that's what I want to share with people. So, no matter what you've been through, your past is not your prison. You don't have a due date on healing. There's gonna be a moment that you gonna think, I cannot do this anymore. Just persevere, because everything is temporary. Although sometimes like it's feels that it's years and months, but one day everything's gonna be different. But one thing for sure, I do believe my past made my character and who I am today. I'm so damn proud who I am today. So everything happens for a reason. Sometimes we don't understand why, but I do believe this is the most important part. If you don't take your life, you still have hope. So don't give up, just persevere.
Gratitude. I appreciate you just sharing all the great information and your journey, and just gratitude for you, you know, so much gratitude for you, and congratulations as well.
Thank you.
Yes, most definitely. I want to just ask you a few questions. Being a young lady, you were a teenager when you met this lady who says, hey, I'm going to help you. And like mentally, after being in a home with the family and all these different things happening, to your body, to your spirit as a person, what was your first thought when you're waking up and it's like, okay, a whole different country from where I was? Like, what was your first thought?
Well, I think just I I've been thinking about this a lot. How like I've been so stupid or naive, like or stuff like that. It's not like I'm reminiscing with regret. I should be smarter or anything like that.
Right.
But the most important part, that's what the predators do. They actually find the need. And I think like I'm talking a lot lately about the misconceptions we have about human trafficking. We think it's like in the movies, kidnapping, physical force, something like that. It's actually uh, so much more scarier because it's subtle. Nobody forced me per se,
Right.
but um, I've been played on physical need, on emotional need. You know, I've been cared for. They dress me, they clean me, they fed me, they give me everything that was lacking,
Mm-hmm.
um, like for a very long time. So
Right.
that's what the traffickers actually do. And sometimes people say like, oh, it's a stranger on the street shove you in the car, you know, like if that would be happening, we would right away see the like light bulb and try to protect those people. But
Right.
sometimes it happening with the family and friends, because like I didn't feel fear, you know, I wasn't scared. I was like, oh my goodness, somebody care. That's how I feel. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how it begins, and then you trapped. And
Right.
definitely they manipulate, they use the psychological means, they separate the people from the family, from any support system they have, they isolate them. But I'm already was alone, so I was like perfect kind of like target for them. So when I woke up, so it was like severe, really. I'm writing about this in my book because when I left, it was winter, so like close to Christmas. I just turned 18 years old, like probably 3 months prior that day, and I was wearing plaid shirt and jeans and boots and jacket because that's I left my country in -40.
Right.
And then I opening my eyes and I thought it was a dream because I still have like withdrawals and I'm already sick and sweaty and nauseous and stuff. But looking around, it was so different. The structure of the building had like no windows, and this warm air was coming through the like opening,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so shocked because the smell, the sound, everything was different. And then I heard this Arabic song. That time, like I didn't know that it was Muslim call to prayer. But
Mm-hmm.
then like I find out that that's what it was because it was so loud and beautiful sound. And I actually look out of the window and there's like clementines growing on the trees and the people wearing t-shirts. And it took me, I'm saying in my story right now that I realized she sold me in human trafficking. It took me a while to figure that out because it's actually took me a few days to understand that I'm actually not free, that I'm a prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow. Wow. Okay. So how has it been? You have your own daughter now. How has it been as a mother, just to tell her or to teach her the things that you weren't taught, to show her the love that you feel you may have not received? Because for some people it's difficult. How has that process been for you?
well, it is difficult. Like it's when the trauma involved, it's very difficult. Not it's difficult with the children, with the husband as well. I wanted to love them, but I do believe I still had that paranoia. That's why I'm really super protected, protective, you know, and I literally had like panic attacks when my oldest one wanna go to like half a block to go get herself like I don't know slushy, but because it's a gas station, like literally I have like panic attacks. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like running after her, screaming, crying, and try to explain. But it's hard to explain because nobody knew my story. I just went like really. triggered in many sense. And it's interesting because it's not like I want to lie to anyone or to the world, because I want to tell my husband's story. I actually wrote him a letter before we got married because I want him to choose to marry me or not, because I didn't feel like I'm worthy like of love, or I deserve marriage or good man or anything like that. But he never read that letter. So I felt like I was honest, and I never spoke about this for like almost 20 years. And what's interesting is that one by one, I have to deal with every trauma that I encounter. And it's very interesting because even 10 years ago, nobody spoke about mental health this way.
Right.
Nobody spoke about the anxiety and the panic attacks the way we're speaking now, you know. And when my daughter was born, like I got hit with the postpartum depression, but nobody recognized that as well. And I wasn't educated enough to actually look into it because physically I was still functioning. So it's very interesting that you're asking that, because it was very hard. It was very hard to trust. So it was very long time when I was just me and my husband, or I was alone with the kids. Because now I understand it's a part of trauma too, that I couldn't build relationships with people. And I actually just have a friend. I have like very rare opportunities to build those friendships, but it was very hard for me to be part of the like normal society. And I do in like quotation marks, if you guys not gonna see me, because normal it's whatever whatever we are thinking decide. So I'm not saying that it have to be like some kind of like criteria. What I'm saying though, it was hard for me to understand people and talking about mundane life,
Mm.
because I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like it's, I don't know, it's just such a different perspective when you like go through trauma. Maybe this is better to explain. I feel like I'm 70 years old,
Mm.
you know, that I lived life. Even like at 25, I felt like I'm old because I went through everything. And when you have to survive, when you have no other choice, when you have a trauma, when you have to recover, when you have to do stuff, and you look for means. And that's why drugs was my solution, because it's actually helped me stay sane, or don't kill myself,
Mm.
you know. And when I had a baby, I knew that I cannot do drugs. I chose not to, because I want to be clean for my husband, for my child, because like I felt responsible for their lives.
Right.
But but now I'm talking to this one of my friend, and she's like, oh, I got hit with the postpartum so hard, and now like I'm taking medication, it's life and like night and day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I would take the medication rather than being like living in hell for 10 years after first my pregnancy and second pregnancy. But that time I didn't know, and I didn't even like, I just thought that drugs is not acceptable,
Right.
so I turned to food. So I was angry and I was eating.
Mm.
But and it was very hard. So like literally our marriage and my kids are survive just by the grace of God. But um I never lay my hands on them. We never swear in the house. We never like have like drunken parties, smoking stuff like that. So we have clean clean house, you know, we have food and everything. And I thought I was providing everything that is possible, but only for 2 last years. So we already more than 16 years together. So for 2 last years, I actually realized that I have more problems, like, and I'm looking into counseling therapy, all the coaching groups. That's how it's led me that I
Mm.
have um, like hardcore PTSDs that I have to deal with. But but only now because I know better and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, that's why when this happened, that's how I behave because it's always negative, something happening that it's triggering. And I don't even know what is it because through my life, I have to deal with so many different things and I use so many different avenues to get there, but I never use drugs. So I'm really proud of myself about that. But I still have like food and anger and stuff like that. So I have to like one by one kind of deal with all the challenges that the trauma brought, and it was hard on everybody. But thanks God, we are kind of like on another side, but it's still gonna be a long road to recover, But I have really good relationship with my family, and I love them, and they love and accept me for who I am, even after this story already come out, and they support me as well. So that's that's big, So
Right. So with your husband, he didn't read the letter before marriage, and then you write the book, the manuscript. So how was it received when he finally was able to hear your journey?
that's a good question too. Actually, when the book went to editor, so I said to him, "Do you want to read the book or you want to hear the story?" He said, "I want to hear the story." So we actually drop off our kids at the church event in evening, and we drove outside our city, and we were like on this beautiful hill, in the nature. There was sunset. It was so pretty.
Hmm.
And I just like he was standing looking forward and I was like kind of talking to his side. He didn't look into my eyes, but I was kind of grateful that it was end up this way because he was like pretty much only second person who I told everything. Because first person actually read my manuscript. It was my editor, who is actually my sister-in-law. So she was the first person who actually read all the story.
Wow.
And my husband was like second person who actually told everything. And it was very interesting that he was like, I was talking to his side and I just laid out on him. I'm like, this is coming out anyway. I have to do it.
Right.
And I wanted to do it because it's been so long. And by writing that book, I realized, oh my goodness, it's been like such a huge transformation for me too, because it was like my therapy with God, I look into my past from the new perspective when I was healed and redeemed and forgiven, and I realized that half of the stuff that I thought it's gonna be painful or like hard, it actually wasn't. So it brought me so much forgiveness, and I reconciled with myself and with my family. It was such a beautiful experience. And then when I was telling to my husband, I just didn't hold back. I'm like, this is it. And and then he was quiet. He wasn't saying anything. And I was kind of like scared. I mean, I'm like, are you are you angry? Are you upset? And he said, I am upset, but not at you. I'm just so upset that it's been done to you. And then he said, two things I have to tell you. He said, you've been healed. And the second one, he said, this book has a purpose. So
Mhm.
that was actually was amazing because oh, and he like afterwards he said, now I understand. But through the life together, and honestly, I don't know how he handled me because I was so broken. I was like totally socially unfit. And he got through it with all this years supporting me because he was very stable himself. But I think that's what actually got us through. The craziest part, though, I do believe he said, I actually put everything two and two together. He said, I know that you got it rough. He didn't know about human trafficking, but the rest of it, he was like kind of he guessed over the years. He's like,
Mm.
yep, the way you making decision, the way you reacting on stuff, he's like, I know you got it rough. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing to have a husband just to receive you and just that's awesome. Great foundation for your family. Um, Absolutely amazing.
I want to say there was something too, because just in case, because I was thinking about this lately. Because when I'm talking about him, and I don't want you guys listening thinking like, oh, like he's so wonderful, he saved you and all this stuff. You know what? Everybody have like their own problems. So
Right.
don't wait for that one perfect human being, that you hope or saying like, oh, she's lucky, she got this angel. No, this is like both of us put lots of time and lots of work into work. I do believe like our marriage survived by the grace of God. But the way that he did receive everything, for sure it was different because my friend afterwards, like long time after, she said to me, I told her just little bit, not even much
Mm-hmm.
of my story, and she said to me, my husband would never married you. I say, I know, that's why God give me my husband.
Right.
But I think what happened is because um my my husband's dad, so like my father-in-law, have very turbulent like upbringing. So he was already telling my husband those kind of stories. So it wasn't kind of like novelty for him. That's why he wasn't surprised. But I was surprised the way he received it. But
Mm-hmm.
he didn't think that um I don't know, was there nothing new for him? So that's what I do believe. Like, for example, right now people coming and telling me their story, and they're like, nothing can shock me. You can literally tell me anything. I don't judge, I don't project, I don't coming up with my own ideas because I lived it all. You
Right.
know what I mean? But when I telling my story in some groups and I see like heartbroken women, who um, feel sorry and pity for me because they imagining this stuff because
Right.
they have no idea. And God bless them. Like I honestly, I'm so grateful that we have all these different experiences so we can support each other, but then like we can have people who have like completely different thing that we can support with, you know what I mean? I'm grateful that not everybody have my story, thanks God, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with a lot of the things that's going on now. They've been telling a lot of the women to watch out because they're sticking these napkins in their door with poison on them, and then putting little identifiers on the cars and following the women and just being able to watch out and to see their surroundings. And honestly, I look at it more as I being able to protect ourselves and also having a community of others around us that are aware as well, that are willing to intervene and step in and to help. Because it like you said is not always being snatched and taken away like the movie. There's actually parents out here selling their children into human
Yes,
trafficking. It's like it is it's some serious stuff going on out here. So just
absolutely.
having that awareness and a lot of things that you shared to let people know, it can be the nice little lady or the nice man that comes up and do all these things that you don't have and take great care of you. And one day you can wake up and you're totally somewhere else.
I don't know, like if you saw this, something like happening, and I'm thinking about this situation on Facebook. I saw this little video, this young man coming to lady sitting on a bench. She's like playing on the phone or whatever at the park. At the park, kids running around, and he goes to her, "We're doing this social experiment. Would you be open to participate if I come to your kid and say, let's go somewhere? Would he leave the playground with me?" She's like, "No, no, they know everything, no." But he sits with the cute little puppy, this fluffy white thing, and he goes just passing by. So she agreed for the experiment, okay? So
Mhm.
this young man goes like and he kind of like slows down around the kid because she said, "This is my kid." She pointed him out. And he's like, literally, he slowed down for a second. And this little boy goes like, and he's not that little. He wasn't 3 or 5. He probably like around like 8, 10.
Mhm.
So it's like, if 8, 10 can be so naive, the little ones can be like gone.
Right.
So it's like he goes, "Oh, I really like this cute dog. Can I pet the dog?" He's like, "Yeah, I can like pet. You can have a dog." So he petting the dog, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to go get some ice cream?" And the kid say, "Yeah, of course." He's like, "Here, hold my hand." And he literally walking away from the playground
Wow.
with the child in his hand. So he didn't pull him, he didn't force him, nobody panicked. He just walking like nice young man, walking with the cute kid. They having a conversation about the dog and the ice cream. And the mom, like I was like in tears. I'm like, this is terrible. Like,
Right.
this is so terrible. Because if people would sit on a playground looking at this situation, nobody would rescue this kid
Right.
because they think that it's just fine. And
Right.
that's what is scary. So I tell my kids all the time, adults don't need your help. So if they asking for direction or come sit in the car to do, and if they offer you like sweets and stuff like that, that's like the trigger, the cats. Well, maybe I'm a little bit more paranoid than the normal person, because I put little bit fear in them. But more and more I'm talking to them, I want them to be like aware. I don't want them to be afraid of the I have no problem if my kid's gonna come pet the puppy, but if somebody say want to go get ice cream, say no thank you, or like I stay here, or I gonna scream, or don't touch me, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because like they have like those red flags right away. Why he asking me this question? Because I drill them. They have this awareness. Why this person asking me question? Why this stranger giving me his hand to hold my hand? Why he want me to walk away from the from the park? Why we going into the parking lot? Where's my mom? Can I ask my mom? Can my mom come with me? Like stuff like that, you
Right.
know? So it's definitely create awareness, and I don't want anybody to see like or be paranoid. But couple red flags for the airport as well, because that's what happened to me. So there are people thinking that somebody dragging someone by the hair through the customs. So I would suggest, like, if you see something like for example, young men and women. This is another thing. Men and women can be trafficked. So if you see that they don't have their own documents or like their own passport, if somebody have answering their questions, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, so you kind of think like, why this person doesn't speak for themselves?
Right.
Why they don't like, and I'm not talking about like children parents situation, because sometimes that can be that, but there was like few other girls with me. So like something must be trigger, like what is this guy doing with these like girls that completely different age, you know what I mean? Like what is this group, what's like, anyway, stuff like that. But at home I would suggest to look for stuff like that, especially when the people being groomed for sex trafficking.
Mhm.
Look for the kids that withdraw. And it's not only kids, because honestly, beast of human trafficking does not discriminate. It's doesn't care about the age, doesn't care about gender, doesn't care about the skin color, doesn't care about the backgrounds, about anything. Honestly, like it's so evil. Anybody can get trapped. So that's why I want you to understand if somebody of your family member or friend becoming like depressed, scared, like or paranoid, you have to ask question like what's happening, what change, or sometimes they can be secretive, doesn't want to share anything, or from nowhere they start getting like new clothes or some extra cash or have a second cell phone and have like some kind of secret boyfriend like with the
Mhm.
secret identity, doesn't want it because that's what trafficker want to do.
Right.
They with fear manipulating, don't tell anything to anyone, like because they don't want to be found out.
Right.
Because if you come and talk to someone at home, like especially like if you're a mom, like I'm mom, okay, I have 15-year-old, and then she start dressing provocatively, I would ask questions like, what happened? Oh, I have like this boyfriend, where is this boyfriend? Oh, he doesn't want to come here, why he doesn't want to come here? Oh,
Mhm.
he's driving this car, he works there. No, I want to see him, I want to meet him. No, no, he doesn't want to meet you. Can I have his phone number? No, no, he doesn't want. What's his name? Oh, he doesn't want me to tell you name. Why? So you know what I mean? It should
Right.
not be that way. So
Right.
those questions and those conversation actually can lead you to find out there's something more than or just like, I have a crush or something like that.
Right.
But then it's get bad to worse if it's go unchecked and it is human trafficking. Then already people get like paranoid, nervous, tense, and they could show signs of abuse or being like malnourished or bruising or something like that as well. Some can be like even tattoo with like branding names and symbols and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty scary, and I do believe when you know the red flags, you can actually make a difference. Just if you know somebody like in immediate danger, just call 911. But
Right.
there's like amazing 24/7 um human trafficking hotlines, and the coolest part about them, they are anonymous. So
Mhm.
like when you call and say, you know what, give them a tip or tell them anything, they don't track your number. They don't track who you are and where you live. So it's actually really cool because I do believe it gives people a little bit more, I don't know, courage, because sometimes we get afraid to get involved. And I kid you not, like if you mom with the kids and you see somebody try to, I don't know, like fight in something, like stop people in the car or see the human trafficking situation, you don't have to be involved. You don't have to like jump and rescue. Of course, like if you have means and you can, yes, absolutely. But there's an amazing, like I do believe in law enforcement. I know I even in the beginning I really kind of was discouraged, and if you ever read my book you will understand why I lost hope in our law enforcement and corruption and all that nonsense. But I do believe if you ask for help, there's gonna be people and organizations that gonna get involved and they're gonna help. I
Right.
believe this 100%. So you don't have to risk your life to save somebody's life, but you definitely can save someone's life, by taking action.
And also keep in mind there's a few places around the US I know they'll have a sign up that says safe space. Definitely if someone gets in a position to where they make a stop and they may happen to see one of these signs and go and ask for help. So yeah, I appreciate you so much, Lena, for
Thank
sharing
you.
and taking time out with us. I know life has been going your way a lot. So, can you tell everyone how to find your book? The Miraculous Story of Salvation.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for having me too. Like I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I actually just finished my new website. I'm so excited about that. You can get my book through Amazon.ca or Amazon.com as well. But if you go and check out my website, and it's Lena Cebula Cebula .ca, that's one. And there's so many more resources that you can check it out as well. There's like few organizations that I support, and honestly, if you guys ever need any help, there's like resources and hotlines and so much more information that you can check it out. Or for my book, if you would like to have signed copy, you email me and I will sign the copy for you. And it's Lena, Lena Cebula @gmail.com. Or if you actually Google, not the Google, but search on Amazon, you have to do Miraculous by Lena Cebula, and then it's gonna come up. And it's actually like it's amazing. It's my story from hell to heaven, and I'm so excited. Honestly, 4 years ago, I was crying. I didn't want to share my story because I was so scared that people gonna judge me and reject me. But now, honestly, nothing better like I would do. I love doing this. I love sharing my story. I love encourage people. I love to give people hope. I love see transformations. I love to hear other people open up to me because I'm honest and open with them. It's just been so beautiful, and just this weight and the burden of the secret, like just been released. I just feel so good just to be honest and open, and don't think that yeah, the people just love on me, we have like so many fears, but yeah, they all lies. The
Right.
fear is the liar.
That's right. And do you have any upcoming projects or events you'd like to talk about?
Yes, actually, I do some fundraiser. If you guys want to partner up, you can check that on the website as well. You can actually search my name and see what I'm doing, and choose whatever you would like to donate your time or maybe funds, or just meet me and see what we can do together, actually. But I'm working on something really interesting. I planning to be a certified life coach.
Oh,
So I'm
right.
excited about that.
Yeah.
And if you have a story to share, you can reach out to me as well and be a guest on Love and Beloved podcast. And yeah. Oh, if you want to invite me to speak, I'm open and willing to come and speak as well. So that would be wonderful too.
Gratitude. And anybody looking to contact you can just email you at Gmail or contact you on your website.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I we appreciate you for sharing your journey with us. Again, this is Natasha Janelle from Studio 125 Multimedia Complex. Peace.
That's awesome. Thank you.